Welcome, welcome, welcome. Come on in, guys. Welcome to day 2 of the workshop where we're going to, hopefully finish up Breath of the Wild. The Breath of the Wild remake we're making in Unity, all with free assets, royalty-free assets. By the way, I wanted to say a huge thank you to the new students who joined full-time game dev. Jonathan, Brock, Ian, Moazim, Aaliyah, Zach, Jennifer, Cahoon C, Danik B, and Lee Lang. And by the way, if you want to also join the course and perhaps learn from somebody who has made games in the past and is currently working on his 3rd commercial release. These are my games. If you want to learn from an actual indie game developer who's gone full-time 3 different times, check out the course below called Full-Time Game Dev. The link is in the description. It's 50% off, and you're going to learn everything I've learned in the last decade of making indie games. That's how to get a publisher, how to get Kickstarter campaigns and crowdfunding, how to hit the Steam front page, how to make a game, whether it's Unity, Godot, or Unreal. You can take your pick. Or, hey, for this sale only, you're going to get my 2D art program and my 3D art program completely free. There's 5 days left. There's like 50 or 60 seats left. And look, if you don't believe me or you think that, this is silly that he's selling a course, just check out the reviews on the website. These are actual students who went full-time with the help of the course, which is really, really cool. And again, like I said, you're being taught by an actual indie game dev in the trenches making games. If you don't believe me, just look up my games. Okay, this is called Neversong. The other one's called Pinstripe. And then my current one is called Twisted Tower. So check it out below. See if it's something you're interested in. You got 5 days left. These seats will definitely sell out. They're selling fast this year. Okay, all right. Let's go ahead and jump inside of Unity. And welcome to the folks who were on my previous live stream that crashed. It's okay. We didn't miss much. Who said that? Oh, Mia says, I got full-time game dev when it launched, and I highly recommend it. Oh, that's awesome. Well, thank you. Okay, let me double check and see, make sure the stream is up and running. And I'm also going to sort of rely on you guys to tell me if the stream is looking good. We don't want it to crash and then Thomas doesn't know. So guys, go ahead and look in the link in the description. Just take a look at all those assets while I'm setting up this stream and making sure everything's good. Check out all those assets. There's a lot of assets that are going to be used in this workshop. Okay, so we've got everything good. Oh, I need to post the new link on the old video. Hang tight. So we can direct people to the new live stream. There we go. I'm double checking something. One sec, guys. Yep, we're good. Okay, you guys ready to jump inside of Unity and get started? Let's go. Okay, so I went ahead and sized all of my prefabs from yesterday, and I put them in a nice little folder here called prefabs. And look, I've got all of them now. Look at this. I've got everything I need to place throughout my scene. They look custom, don't they? They're not. They're all these different asset packs, and we colorized them yesterday. We sized them properly, and by the way, we want to make sure. Well, we'll do it in a sec. Let's go ahead and paint our terrain, okay? So I'm going to start with just a base layer of green, okay? And in fact, let's figure out, this is something that I find really helpful, is find the game you're inspired by the most. So in this case, obviously, Breath of the Wild. And find out, okay, what's the main texture that you see most of the time in Breath of the Wild? You see a lot of grass for sure, but I'm wondering if you see actually a lot more stone than you see grass. I'm gonna go with stone. I'm gonna say stone is our number one texture that's gonna be used here, and then we're gonna paint grass where it's flat. That's kind of the rule, right? We also have dirt, but I'm curious if we also need to create sand and snow. Yeah, we need dirt. And I'm sorry, we need sand and snow. But before we paint anything here, let's go ahead and open those up in Photoshop. All right, first one here, snow. I'm going to save this in my art. For some reason, my computer's getting slow and I can't figure it out. We're okay. All right, we're going to go to our terrain. And I'm going to call this snow.psd. Again, I like to save all of my art files as or my texture files as PSD. Maybe we have a dirt one as well. Let's double check here. Do we have any dirt? Again, we're going to go to asset dump here. Go to these textures that we downloaded for free. The link is in the description. And we have sand. But oddly enough, we don't have dirt. So let's go ahead and just colorize this. We're going to eyeball this one. We're going to use it fairly infrequently. But this is going to be like the color of a dirt path. Okay, I'm going to eyeball that one. And we'll figure out later if it's going to work for us. But you guys notice what I'm doing here. I started with the bare minimum of what I needed. And it all followed strictly a color scheme. And now that we have that sort of core of colors that we've used and core prefabs and core textures, I can expand just a little bit and sort of change some of the colors just a little bit and create a new texture here and there. But that's it, okay? We still have that core of colors and prefabs that we're going to be using. All right, this is going to be called dirt. I'm sorry. Do I already, where's my, wait, I have a dirt. There's dirt. I need sand. There we go. That's sand. Got it. Now let's go ahead and add our terrain layers. Create layer. I'm going to create one called sand. And then I'm also going to create one called snow. Okay, you'll notice that these have terrible names. So I'm going to name this one snow here. It stores them at the root prefab. Or the root of the project, which is so annoying. And this is what? Sand. Got it. Let's move these up into our prefabs. I'm sorry, into our art folder. No, our terrain folder. There we go. Drag it into layers. There we go. Okay, so I could paint some sand and snow. Okay, now you notice that they're probably really shiny here. Let's double check and see what's going on with our channel defaults. There we go. Getting rid of all the smoothness values here. Okay, the snow is super bright. We're going to adjust that in a sec. Okay, but we're going to start with a base layer of stone here, okay? This base layer of stone, whoops. No, we're good, we're good. We're going to fill in all of these terrain pieces. You'll notice I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. One terrain is probably not going to be enough. And so I created 9 so that we can create some mountains around us, okay? But we're just going to start with dirt, or I'm sorry, stone. Here we go. All right, so let's hit play and see if that texture size is big enough for us, okay? It's not. I think we need to go much bigger. All right. And I'm curious if there's like a grayish stone as well. There's not. Okay, so we're good. Yeah. All righty. Oh my goodness, that's so annoying. You have to select this terrain to begin painting to this terrain, right? So what I'm going to do is paint all of these onto each terrain, and each one now adds the layer. It's so annoying. Golly, that's so annoying. I don't love Unity's terrain system, I'll be honest. It's not my favorite. So I'm paint all of these, and you'll notice it's starting to add them. Really annoying. Really, really annoying. Okay, so let's go ahead and paint our stone back. And again, it felt a little small, didn't it? If we go to our player here, our player size, you'll see, wow, that's really tiny, you know? So we need to look at it and say, okay, well, what can we do here? That would be so annoying if oh my word. Do I have to change each tile set? Let's double check something here. That looks about right, but I'm wondering if we need to go over here. Okay, good, it updates all of them. Thank God. Whew, okay, it updates all of the terrain layers, so that's good. All right, let's hit play and take a look. And again, we sized all of our prefabs, but now we also want to make sure we're sizing our textures, okay? So we want everything to have a nice matchy-matchy size. All right, grass, I'm going to assume that grass is going to be 10 as well. In fact, because these all came from the same asset pack, it's highly likely that they're all going to be able to be tiled the same size. That's my theory. All right, so we have our grass here. Let's go ahead and hit play and take a look. What happened to my other Breath of the Wild video yesterday? It's up. Just go to my live tab. That looks good. I'm good with that. Okay. So they're all going to look pretty good here. So let's go ahead and just add stone here again. And now what we're going to do is we're going to study. Let's just sit and study for a little bit how the terrain looks in Breath of the Wild. We're flanked around all sides by a large cliff. Now, obviously, in Breath of the Wild, you have like a moat, right, around you, and then you have the cliffs. We're just going to do big cliffs around us. That's all we're going to do. Okay, so let's just do that first. Okay, I think that's what we want to do. We're going to create some kind of warping in our terrain. So let's go ahead and raise height, raise or lower terrain. And we're going to do something like just a very subtle warping across the board. I'm going to make sure I turn off the lighting here. And we're going to go ahead and start adding in some texture on the terrain. I just want a little bit of texture so it's not perfectly flat. We're going to start with kind of a subtle terrain here. And I kind of want to do this and then hills and then the mountains around. We'll see. I could be wrong, but we'll see. Let's go ahead and go back to our player size here. Now you notice that our terrain is now higher than the player. So what we're going to do, and that's looking good already, is bring our character controller up here and hit play. Good. So far, so good. I just want subtle warping on the terrain, right? Okay. Next up is the mountains, okay? So we're going to go ahead and paint the raise or lower terrain here. And I'm going to use these mountain brushes, these right here. You see that? And I'm going to go with a pretty intense opacity and brush size and start just raising them up. Okay. Look, you can even do this. Look at that. These are cool brushes that are free with the asset pack below. So if we take a look at it from the player's position, which is a great way to paint terrain, just kind of look at the player's position. You can start to see why these brushes are so valuable. See that? All right, good. Let's keep going. So when in doubt, just use the brush, okay? Just use a brush to create some mountains. Instead of trying to do it, eyeball it with like one brush, like this one here, just use these. These are so much more effective at creating huge mountains. Okay. Nice little zigzag here. That's cool. Okay. Oh, there you go. Again, we're going to go back down to where the player is. The way I do that is go to player. This is my player size block. I like to go down here, see the player's reference size, and look at our mountains, right? Hopefully fog will fix that weird. I don't know why it looks different far away. Also, we're getting some culling occurring. So what we're probably going to need to do is for this video in particular, I'm curious if we're going to want to make this character controller, the camera, the distance 2000. I think we're going to do that just for this video. Hey, this video is not about optimizing, okay? All right, so we need to make the mountains much higher, okay? So that we're flanked on all sides by these massive mountains. Okay, so let's go ahead and make them much higher on the sides here. That one, you just want to be careful that you're not going too crazy. real careful with mountains. Okay, we're gonna grab another one over here. And by the way, this is kind of my first time using these brushes, so I'm actually having a lot of fun. Learning a lot here. So as long as you create these high mountains over here, and you can't see past them, you won't see the edges. Okay, that looks bad. So we're gonna smooth that one out. That one probably need to lower a little bit. And when it looks really boring or flat, you just go in and grab these veins here. Just add these cool veins. Isn't that cool? Okay, that looks bad, so we're gonna smooth that. Go to our smooth height tool, go to brush size, opacity is pretty good. We're just gonna smooth that. Crap. We're gonna go to set height and start fresh over here. So if you hold shift and left click, you could sample the height here and then just do that. There we go. We're gonna set that back. That one, smooth that out a little bit. Okay, looking good so far. Looks like a desert. That's okay. We're gonna raise up the terrain over here. And again, look, it starts with just that centerpiece as our terrain. I had to add 9 terrains to get that sort of scale, right? Let's get one of the more complicated pieces here. There we go. So you can imagine how complicated it is to do an open world game that has intuitive level design, doing something like this. It's just crazy. And also optimizing it for Switch. I mean, how did they even do that? Because the Switch is trash. Okay, let's go ahead and zoom in here. We'll smooth these out. Good, 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 good. Over there's, we need to raise that up for sure. We're gonna smooth that out a little bit. Man, the smooth height tool sucks. It's not intense enough. We have to do set height here. Yeah. We do that. Smooth height here. We may want to start over because I'm feeling frustrated with what I've got. That's so cool. So really, we just want to flank ourselves with mountains. That's the goal here. We want to feel kind of a sense of height all around us. Okay, over here, we need some. You okay, buddy? Jebby! Jeb! Jebby, wake up! Jebby! Jebby! Jeb! 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 It's okay. Do you want to go outside? All right. there's our stone mountains. And the thing about the terrain tool, guys, if you're curious, is that we're getting the terrain slowly changes resolution as it goes away from the camera, right? So let's hit play here. So when you look out at the terrain, it's not super high res, right? Okay, where's my player? There he is. So looking out far, it slowly de-reses itself the farther it is away from the camera. Okay, so we're going to need to go a longer draw distance. I honestly, I don't know how else to do this than to just give us a really long draw distance for the camera. I mean, how else do we think that they did it in Breath of the Wild, you know? Looking good. Okay. Let's smooth out the hills and stuff here. So some of these hills are just a little too big. So I'm going to grab this and lower the terrain and then smooth it. All right, smooth that terrain out there. See, I wish the smoothing was much more intense because it's so hard. I barely even use the smooth tool, honestly. Just because it's just not effective. All right. And then let's add a little bit of I may actually go to the set height tool. And sort of flatten things a little bit to give me a little bit more control over this middle portion. Because I want to make some rolling hills and stuff. Yeah. Man, I can imagine how difficult. This is so interesting to me. How big Breath of the Wild truly is, because I just added 9 pieces of terrain. And I mean, it's honestly not that big. Let's hit play and take a look. Look at this. I could probably walk across this in like what? 5 minutes maybe? So I'm not sure why we're getting that weird clipping over there. Or like you can see how the color's changing over there. I'm not sure why that's happening. But I'm not going to worry about it right now, I don't think. All right, let's go ahead and add some detailing here. Raise or lower terrain. Just going to add a little bit of details here to kind of help this feel not so terrainy. And what I mean by that is like it's Unity terrain. What's crazy about Breath of the Wild is not only did they prioritize it looking good, but it all has functionality. So it really is monumental. Because it's one thing to make something look pretty, it's another thing to make it fun, you know? If I hold shift, I could create these cracks too, look. Like that. But I feel like that really helps, you know, adding these little veins helps a lot. Maybe one here as well. Oh, look at that. Adding some really cool textures there. Yeah, it's not going to be perfect here, guys, because we're just going to do this during a live stream, but overall, it's not terrible. Yeah, it really does help to look at it from this angle as we paint. Otherwise, it's really hard to see what you're doing. Look at that. Isn't that cool? That's coming along. Now, obviously, guys, there's tools out there that'll auto paint your terrain based on the height. I kind of want to do it by hand today, okay? I would love to look into those tools, but for today, I don't really want to do it. Keep adding some of these details here. All right. Got our stone here. Now there's part of me that wants to create a large stone and then a small stone texture. I'll show you what I mean. Okay, so far so good. I don't hate it, and that's always a good thing, right? My theory is that look how big it is. That's crazy. Like way more distant. Now, we can create distance. Let's go ahead and do this. We're going to create distance by adding some fog, okay? If I add on fog, it's going to make it look much further away, and that's a good thing, right? So look, the fog in Breath of the Wild is that blue color of our sky that's more kind of up here almost, right? But we're going to go a little bit darker. And then we're going to set it to be, there we go. We want a little bit more saturated and a little bit brighter. There we go. Maybe a little bit more green. Brilliant. All right, let's hit play and see if that helped us. Okay. Yep, that did help us. Do you guys see why fog is so valuable? All right, that helped us a lot. Good. Okay. I mean, honestly, I'm not even going to really worry about texturing the far mountains because right now I just worried about right here. Okay. Let's go ahead and create some kind of portion of the level here in the middle. Okay. Something like this. Something like that. With a little, maybe a precipice over here that we can stand on. Okay. Go back to our inspector here. Start raising and lowering our terrain. We're just going to use this sort of fluffy one here. And just start creating the precipice maybe right here where the player can stand. And then they can look out. I think that's a little too warped there. So here, let's do this. So there's our precipice that the player can stand on. I'll smooth that out a little bit. He's going to stand right here, and he's going to look out on just this beautiful field. I'm going to probably need to smooth this a little bit. Okay, let's smooth that out a little bit. That's messed up right there. There we go. Smooth all these out. We probably need to set that height there. Watch this. We go to our set height here. I can sort of say, okay, well, I kind of want it to be about that high right there. And then I can bring the size down and just click. And then we'll smooth it. So we're going to create kind of a little precipice here that the player could stand on. Right? In a way, I'm kind of viewing this part like the intro where we sort of stand here and look out, you know. Could probably go even higher. So we could even do this. If I select this point here, again, hold click or shift, control and click, I can make it like this high little precipice right here. So you can imagine why it's valuable to use set height because it actually looks very natural right here. Right? So there's one precipice, there's another one. I can do the same here. You can do that here. and just create these little fields. Do you see? Same here. Shift click, little field here. Shift click, just creating these little plateaus. And then we'll smooth it out, don't worry. Okay. All right. We're going to smooth it out. And then we'll warp it a little bit so it's not perfectly flat. We don't want that. But we're just trying to create these like layers. Now painting all of this is going to be so fun. That's sarcasm, by the way. Let's go ahead and set the height here. Again, smooth the height here. We're going to set height here again. We're going to do this one. Smooth it. I just feel like that's kind of how terrain works. I could be wrong. Just little layers, you know? All right, let's hit play here and move the controller over here. And again, it's so important to always remember you're going to have lighting and fog. We may even add some mountains on the horizon as well. Where's my light? Sometimes my light's gone. Hold on. There we go. All right, something like that. I'm going to save it. I'm going to bring my character controller over here. And you can do that, by the way, by pressing Control-Shift-F, and it will move your character or your object. Just make sure you zero out its rotation because it also moves the rotation as well. Okay, let's hit play. When exactly am I building Breath of the Wild? What? We're doing it right now. I need to smooth out that one. There we go. I just need to smooth out that one piece. But this is probably a good spot for us to sort of focus our attention. So that right there, I believe, where was it? I was standing here. That looks unnatural right there. Okay. Set height. Look at that. Isn't that cool, guys? You just create these little layers here. Hold shift click, do it again. Look at that. Isn't that cool? Just feels very natural, in my opinion. Okay, let's go ahead and just add some warping. Whoops. We're going to do raise and lower terrain. Lower the opacity and just start adding in just subtle little movements. Thomas, have you decided on your next game? Not really, no. Not yet. I'm getting there. I'm rumbling through a few ideas. All right, let's see here. Yeah, it looks good. 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 Yep, it's feeling natural to me. It's not perfect by any means, but it's definitely passable for an indie game, for sure. That's kind of weird looking. I'm gonna smooth that out. Actually, we'll do set height here. That right there. There we go. See what I'm doing there, guys? When in doubt, just do a little bit of a set height, and all of a sudden it just looks natural. Look at that. Same here. Just set height. Click, shift, click. Look at that. It's just creating these natural looking layers. It's kind of a trick that I learned just now. That's awesome. Shift click and then boom. Isn't that cool? Really helps. And I think that is not how it works in the real world. You have just like, it's almost like the earth is made of, well, layers. Isn't that cool? Anytime you see a weird spot and you're like, I don't really like that, just shift click and boom. See that? Shift click, boom. Shift click, boom. Shift click, boom. Shift click, boom. Shift control click is what it is. go. Brilliantly done, Thomas. Thank you. Well, I appreciate it, guys. All right, let's hit play and take a look. Thomas, would you ever do early access? I'm kind of thinking that's what I'm going to do with my next game. And guys, I'm going to be honest with you. You know, I know I teach a lot about how to go full time. I'm probably not going to do I'm not going to use my methods of going full time anymore, like working with publishers or crowdfunding or anything like that anymore. Because I'm in a position, I've kind of earned my stripes a little bit, whatever the word is. I've gotten the rite of passage to take advantage of my audience. And what I mean by that is I'm probably going to do early access for my next game and build some kind of game that we can build together. And it'll also monetize the game. That's probably what I'm going to do. And what I mean by that is some kind of, it's not necessarily multiplayer, but I'm thinking maybe like a sandboxy type game, but beautiful in the Thomas Brush style. And what I mean by all of that, what I was saying is like a lot of people don't have the ability to take advantage of like a YouTube audience. And I understand that. Okay. I understand that 100%. And I know that that feels unfair. However, I have been doing YouTube for 10 years. So I'm probably going to make something for my YouTube audience and it'll probably monetize it as well. Does that make sense? This looks great, man. I honestly, that control shift click set height thing I'm doing is actually probably the number one tip I would take from this whole video series. That is a really good trick because it feels very realistic now. Waffles or pancakes? Waffles, definitely waffles. That is a very good question. Very important question. I totally agree. Guys, I'm going to duplicate this layer here for our stone. I want to show you something. If the stone is looking, and this is just like a really simple trick, it is not clever and it's not some shader or some asset. All we got to do is go to paint texture here. I'm going to call this stone. We have one called stone. I'm going to rename it to stone small. And I'm going to duplicate it, call it stone. Whoops, that's snow. Sorry, snow. This is stone. I'm going to call it stone small. I'm going to duplicate it, call stone big. And might as well just have snow big as well. Okay, why not? And this will be 20 by 20. And then stone big will be 20 by 20 as well. Okay. And maybe even a different offset value. I mean, I don't know why it matters, but hey, let's do it. Now I can go ahead and add that layer, right? It's called stone large or stone big. And now I could take this and I could paint on top of this. And you can see now it's sort of blending a little bit. And so the trick here is to just go all over the place, especially towards the bigger mountains over here. I'm going to go ahead and just do larger stone over there so it doesn't look so repetitive. But you can see here, if you set the opacity lower and then do like a speckled texture, you could just sort of paint all over and it's not as repetitive looking. So there's some large ones there. Yeah, there we go. And then we can even do a bigger one. We're going to do stone massive. And this one is just huge, right? It's for ones we're never really going to get to. So if I do 50 by 50, and I go ahead and add this to my terrain, I'm going to do stone massive here. This one is huge, and I can just paint this over here. See that? Do you see why you might want to do that in the on the mountains far away? So that you just see huge, giant pieces of stone, but you're not seeing like a repetitive texture. Does that make sense? All right, let's get on our plateau here and hit play and just see how everything looks. Pretty good so far. I don't have any huge complaints, except for the ground that I'm standing on, which should be more of, let's see here, the small stone, but we're going to do a speckled. There we go. So now it's a mix, see? Yeah, that's great, man. Okay. Where was the player standing? I think it was right here. Somewhere right here. Okay, the next thing I want to do is just go ahead and put some white snow on the peaks. So this is going to be a sort of a guess and check process, but we're just going to put white snow on the peaks. I want to see the lighting without the fog. There we go. I'm just click, 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 right? And I'm just looking for high points where the snow might have collected naturally. And I think this is going to look good. I have never done snow before on mountains like this. I have never done that. And again, you can there are plenty of tools out there that'll do this automatically, and I'm sure it would look even better. But I just want to go ahead and paint it. I haven't even learned those tools, to be honest with you. I'm not going to lie. I'm sure they're really easy to learn, but I just want to paint it. I do like having control over the texturing. I really do. So like that doesn't look very natural right here because it's like the higher it gets, just you want to go like pure white. That right there I feel like doesn't work, but we'll see. If we do like that, that might work. Okay, good. We won't do as much intensity there, so reduce the opacity, increase the brush size, and just do something like this. Do you know what I don't like in Breath of the Wild? I don't like their snow levels. They're really gloomy, and they feel hot for some reason. They don't feel cold, and I can't put a... That looks terrible. I can't put a finger on it. Does anyone know what I'm talking about? The snow levels, it feels like it's dust. And in fact, I remember playing the game and feeling like, wait a second. Is this like a dust level? Or is it a desert? It felt like a desert. I'm gonna add a little bit of dirt here, see how that looks. I'm curious what would happen if you did like a dirt strand like that. Doesn't look bad, actually. Whoops. Can't go back in time for some reason there. All right, we're just feeling it out, guys. Feeling it out here. All right, almost there. You just don't want too much snow, you know? Because it does need to feel kind of like it's the spring, but you're going to see snow at the highest points, you know? Just playing it out here in my head, just guessing and checking. Yeah, you just want to be very careful. You don't want too much snow. Ooh, I like going over it like that. That actually looks really good. It makes it look sort of choked. That looks much better. Look at that. Here. Yep, that looks a lot better. Stuff like this. Look at that. There we go, Tommy. Very good. Oh, that looks really natural. Brilliant. Okay, good. Hey, we need a little bit of snow here. Maybe some here as well. But again, we're going to choke it out a little bit. Brilliant. Save it. Make sure we're I'm just click, 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 right? Click, 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 click. All right. Let's hit play. Take a look at, oh, that looks bad. There we go. That looks bad. That looks bad. Good. Okay. That looks bad. All right. Let's hit play. The highest point is cold. Yes. Okay. So we don't have our fog on. We're just looking at our mountains. Okay. Fog helps a lot. Do you know what makes it look distant now is the detailing. So let's turn on our fog, and I'm going to increase the density here. Actually, I'm going to do linear. Okay. The reason why is because I want to do -20 so that there's just a subtle piece of fog coming towards behind the camera. And then I'm going to go out like 2000. Okay. Let's do 1800 and then dark. That's good enough for me, I think. We're going to do -20 to 1800. And again, we're using linear. Linear means we could choose the start point, which I want it to be -20 units behind the camera, and then I want to go 1800 units away from the camera. Okay, like that. And I just want to go a little bit darker. Some of these textures are looking really repetitive. So I'm going to go ahead and just do some dirt in places where it feels a little repetitive. I need to think here mathematically. We don't want to be too random here. We want to think, where would dirt occur on a mountain? Probably on the base, right? On the base of the mountain. Okay, so somewhere maybe right here. Let's see how that painting is looking. Is that too dense? It's a little too dense, but let's go back in time. And we probably want to do we want a big dirt texture as well. So I'm going to go to my dirt. I'm going to go dirt. I'm going to call it dirt massive. And I'm going to set it to a tiling of 50. Okay. That way I can add that. There it is. And then now I can do stuff like that. Okay, good. How big is it? Yeah, let's go massive. That's standard dirt. Sorry. There we go. There we go. Okay. So there's our dirt. And we're just going to start putting it around the base. Use a bigger brush. Yeah, the stone is going to be coming out of the dirt. And we're just blending, creating a lot of different blending here. We may want to change the color of the dirt. I'm unsure at the moment. Just mixing and matching here, guys. And honestly, I'm kind of just learning as I go here. Kind of what I think I want it to look like. Yeah, just blending in that so it doesn't look so repetitive. That's the main thing we're doing here. We just don't want it to feel too repetitive. A little much. Yeah. And in a way, I think you can think of it in terms of height and angle, right? So if it's a lower angle, you can do dirt. If it's a higher angle, do stone. Yeah, you can see why it would be effective to have an equation that would do all this for us, you know? All right. Not bad. That looks bad right there, actually. Add a little bit of stone here. That feels a little weird. So just creating some variation here in all of the stone. There we go. Yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there. Okay, let's hit play and take a look. And then we're going to start filling in grass and sort of focusing on the field that the player is currently on. kind of feel like that stone small is just too small. And then stone big, I feel like that needs to be 50, and this needs to be like 100. There we go. Okay, that's way too big, so but we're gonna paint grass right there. But that helps a lot, actually. Yeah, that helps a lot. Good deal. Good deal. All right, the where I was standing, we need to do stone small. So where was that? I think right here. Yeah. There we go. Yeah. So basically, we're just prioritizing detailing where the player is going to be. And then the mountains all around us, the player is not going to be over there, at least for the purposes of this video. Yeah. So you see that, guys? I'm using a small texture now. And I'm just sort of creating this variation. And let's hit play. And then we're going to start, we'll paint some grass all over on the flat areas. And I think you'll be surprised. I don't know. I mean, we'll see. But I think you guys are going to be surprised with how this looks. Probably crank up the contrast of the stone, but overall that's good. Okay, y'all ready to paint some, remember, we're kind of going up in layers. So we're going, okay, stone, then dirt, then grass, right? So what I'm going to do is go to my dirt, and I'm going to start painting dirt where I think it would be. Well, I'm just going to worry about the surface here. The flat spots. I wonder if we could see a wireframe of it. That actually helps a lot. Okay, I'm going to save this scene. I'm going to reduce the opacity here. We're going to start putting dirt where it's flat, okay? If I see a high angle, I'm not going to put dirt on it because that's going to be our stone. And then we're going to put grass on this so that it looks like the grass then turns to dirt and then turns to stone. It's like it's peeling away the layers, okay? And why is that? Well, because grass has a hard time. In fact, it won't really grow on the side of mountains, okay? Let's see how it looks so far without that on. There we go. Yeah, that dirt texture is pretty intense. There's part of me that feels like it needs to be something like 20 by 20. Because it's going to be blending and mixing below, so that'll sort of increase its fidelity, I guess. And then we'll put grass on top of it. Yep. I think that'll be okay. All right, let's keep going. Guys, I'm clicking a lot. I'm not holding down at all. I'm just sort of rapid firing. We'll see if that actually looks good. And you could just basically sort of use your brain and go, okay, whatever's flat is going to be dirt. And then we'll put grass on it. And that's because we want the walls to be stone, right? Anything angled down, we want it to be stone. Can you explain how you match the color palette using hue saturation? I know you are past that point, but when I tried it, it was really hard. Use the hue saturation filter. It's below your layers. It's a little button, and you put it over top of all of your layers, and it controls all the layers below. And then what you do is, yeah, this is looking good. Then what you do is you can control which channel you want to adjust the hue on. So if it's like, okay, I need a little bit more green in my blue channels, I'm going to go to my blues and then move it over to green. So just Google the hue saturation slider or hue saturation effect in Photoshop. Google it and see if you can find any good tutorials for it. I can't do that right now. I'm so sorry. I just need to get moving on this, but that is a really important question. I agree. Guys, I'm eyeballing this. I really am. I'm just like, it's almost coming naturally to me. I could be wrong here, but it's coming naturally to me at this point where I'm like, okay, my mind's eye is telling me where dirt needs to go. I'm going to reduce the opacity, increase the intensity of or the size of it. I think you guys are going to be surprised how this looks once we throw some grass on it. Yeah, I would say I'm 3,000% sure that if I was making this game for real, I would definitely be using an algorithm of some kind that automatically paints this dirt. Definitely. Because any change to the terrain, you want it to automatically update the texture, right? Which right now we don't have. And you can imagine how, and I'm going to blend a little bit here. You can imagine how painful it would be to go, oh crap, I need to adjust my terrain. All right, the rule we're going to follow here is you only put grass at the densest points of the dirt. Okay? That's going to be our rule. You really want the dirt to act as, I think, almost like an outline for your grass. I'll show you what I mean here. But let's hit play here and take a look. I don't think Unity has that function by default, no. I could be wrong. Why doesn't play work? Hold on. That bugs me, right? That piece right there is bugging me. But that's okay. Grass will go here. We'll put grass all over there. And I think, guys, I think that's all we need to do here. And we'll do paths with sand and all that. But right now, the focus is this grass. This is what's going to make it feel like Breath of the Wild. Because Breath of the Wild has a ton of grass. Yeah, I think that's going to work. I think that's going to work. We'll see. Crank up the opacity. And we'll create a different brush as well to use. So you can see, if you do this, guys, you can see why you got to be really careful. It only makes sense to put it inside of the densest parts of the darkness here. Yeah. There we go. We're getting there. All right, let's hit play and just see how it feels. Yeah, it feels good. Getting there. We need to put some over there. Worst case, I think we just need more grass, you know? Yeah. Worst case, I think we just need more grass. So let's do it. And before we do that, we need to put some dirt throughout our scene here. Just be a little bit more generous with our dirt, okay? More generous with our dirt. That way we have more opportunity to do grass. Okay. I think this is going to look good. I really do. Yeah, more generous, more generous. Good job. Okay. I was losing some confidence there, but we found it. We got it back. Yeah. Okay. There we go. Plenty of grass. You see what I'm doing here, guys? I'm treating the dirt as if it's basically an outline for our grass. And it looks natural. We'll go in and fill the details in a sec. Yeah, you want to look out there and you want to see a field of grass. That's what you want to see. You don't want it to feel like a desert. Although Zelda does have kind of a Mongolia vibe, right? Would you guys agree with that? It kind of feels like, is that Mongolia? Is that what I'm thinking about? Or like, yeah, I got it right? Is it Mongolia that it feels like? There we go. Yeah, there we go. There's a free procedural painter. Well, I might put a link in the description or talk about it when I do the full length or the dedicated upload for this video. Because I'm going to have my editor do a video about it or edit this down into like 20 minutes. But I do think it's really good and valuable for us to do painting here. So you guys can kind of see the logic behind it. You know, I think it's really helpful that we think about, okay, why did that work? You know, why did that work? And why does it look the way it does in Breath of the Wild? I think that's really important that you practice. That you practice painting in the terrain. Because it helps you better understand why things look good on terrain. See that? Now all of a sudden it's starting to feel like Breath of the Wild, you know? We're going to go in and add a little bit of details here. Just finding the spots that kind of annoy me. You can see why it's important to go in and start adding like lower sized brushes with more detailing on them. Look, watch this. You can just do little stamps here. And we'll do another texture size as well. That doesn't work right there. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, that was a mistake. Yeah, there we go. And then I can even, if I wanted to, just fill in the dirt right here. And then some grass. You can see why this is going to look better. There we go. Yeah. Yeah. Cool. We'll go in and yeah, that needs to be dirt. Yeah, there we go. With a little bit of stone right there. All right. And then same here. Dirt coming through. And then stone. Okay, not bad. I'm going to smooth that out here. Okay, I think we can start placing some assets, guys. What do you think? This is really boring right here. So something's, wherever that is, where is that? Somewhere, the player is somewhere where that's really boring looking. Where is that? Hang on. He's right here. I think. Hold on. Is he right there? Where's the camera? He's right here. Okay. Yeah, we need to put some grass there. There we go. Put some grass here. That looks pretty good, actually. I like that. There we go. All right, you want to paint some blades of grass now, guys? So we're just slowly going up. And by the way, I'm going to go to that grass here. I'm going to duplicate it. I'm going to call this grass bigger, or grass grass big, and I'm going to do 20 by 20. And what you could do is add this add this to the terrain here. Where is it? Grass big, and I could take this grass big and just do this, and you can see that it now doesn't look like it's looping too much or tiling too much. And obviously, assets are going to help with that. Blades of grass are going to help with that. But we're just trying to make the texture not look like it's tiling so much. And yeah, I think the goal here is to just do it by hand. And then I'm sure there's plenty of tools out there. And this helps us better understand why tools exist to begin with, why people might want to use those tools. I'm going to create another one. Actually, I'm going to make this a variation. There we go. So remember how I mentioned in yesterday's live stream how you start with a very strict unified color palette, and then you can expand slowly. You expand that color palette with lighting and hue variations. For example, the dirt massive, I can vary the hue a little bit here and make it kind of a yellow, right? So you can see the difference. But we're going to create those variations now with our grass big and our grass small. You see that? Just going through and adding variation. It helps a lot, actually. It really does. Look at that. It doesn't feel so uncanny. And I mean, even the stone massive, like watch this. If I make this darker, look at the variations now that I'm getting. So we're just varying our varying our colors, and we're just getting these subtle shifts in color. Very good. Dirt massive. Just fill that in over here. Look at that. Yeah, so far so good, y'all, honestly. Hey T, glad I caught you live. I've been watching a lot of your videos lately, and I've started game dev again. Need some inspiration from a veteran, and always fun to watch you rant. That's awesome. Am I a veteran? I don't know if I'd say that. Okay. I kind of hate the snow, you know? I kind of hate the snow. I'm going to go in and I'm going to remove a lot of that snow. I just hate it. We only really need to see it at the tops of the mountains. There's a lot of places where it just logically shouldn't be there, you know? Yeah. There's certain places where it's like, that just doesn't make sense. Snow kind of runs along the edges of a mountain, you know? There we go. That's feeling a little bit better. There's just there's something in your brain that'll just tell you that something's wrong there, you know? Something is just not working there. And it also doesn't have a lot of detail. It looks very mip-mappy. Yeah, like right there, it looks really mip-mappy. So that's why you go in with a detail brush. Like that looks so bad right there. Yeah. Kind of want to smooth all of the terrain as well. Yeah, like that doesn't make any sense. There we go. Yeah, we're going to go in and just smooth all of this terrain because it's just too detailed for a Nintendo game, honestly. We're going to unify all of that. Because so, what we're seeing is we're seeing some mountains are very detailed and others are not, with in terms of the mesh, and it's creating some confusion. I kind of also feel like there needs to be green on the mountains, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Yeah, let's smooth it out. Let's do a quick smoothing session. Okay. And let's go to Breath of the Wild and see if there's more green going on in the mountains. I mean, honestly, there's just so much fog. But yes, there is green on the mountains. So there's a lot of green on the mountains. So we kind of missed that here, unfortunately. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a dirt pass, a very large dirt pass on our mountains. Son of a... There's part of me that thinks the fog's going to solve all this. I just need to make the fog denser. But I'm curious if we can just put some green on these mountains and it just will help a lot, you know? Because it feels a little bit deserty. Let's hit play and take a look. I just want to see if that just kiss of grass helps. Okay, it does. It does. Good. Okay. This side over here is a little bit too bland right here. So what we're going to do here is just go to our stone and do kisses of stone along the edges. Yeah, you could definitely imagine. I think we can all agree that having some kind of an auto mapping occurring with the texture is going to be so helpful. I almost want to do it. But I think overall, guys, I think we're good enough. You know, this is pretty much good enough. Now we can start adding grass and trees and rocks. We're going to see how it looks, okay? Okay, let's prioritize this little section right here, okay? The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and paint our grass. There it is. I'm going to increase the draw distance of our grass for now. Detail distance, there it is. There we go. We're going to do something like 300 for now. But we're going to want to make that not as intense soon. And let's go ahead and use one of these more interesting brushes here. Increase the opacity, decrease the size of the brush. I'm not sure why those are different looking. Why is that? What in the world? Yeah. Why is it doing that? I don't understand. We're going to remove all these brushes. We only want one. Look at that. That's so weird. Okay, let's erase all this and not go so dense. Look at that. Is that the opacity maybe? No? What in the world? Ooh, we got ourselves a glitch. Something's going on. Look at this. It's adding all this crap. And that's because we're going from one terrain piece to the next, unfortunately, which really sucks. I can't believe Unity makes me do that. That's just horrible. It's a crime. Wow. That is awful. Well, we're going to prioritize this section here. Why is the color changing so much? That is so weird. I don't understand that. I really liked our grass we had yesterday, and now I hate it. Something happened. Let's double check. Look at that. Why do you look so terrible? What happened? That's crazy. Opacity. Okay, let's go to our edit details and take a look at what's going on. Okay, detail density, crank it up. And we're going to see if we need to do a little bit of a color change here. Look at that. Saturate it. Okay, that's better, I think. Yeah, that's better. Okay. I'm going to hit apply here, and we're going to trust this. And we're going to enter play mode and go take a look at it. Welcome to Unity. Let's go down there and take a look. Okay, there's our draw distance occurring. It's a little tall, but it looks good. Yeah, we're looking good here. Okay. It's a little tall. So we're going to do max height of 1.2, 1.2, 0.8, 0.8. We're going to increase the density, and we're going to hope for the best. That's good. And then this color here is a little too green. Decrease it. There we go. We're going to try that and then create some noise. There we go. There we go. And hit apply. All right. So the grass is pretty dense, but I mean, that's kind of what is going on in Breath of the Wild. I'm sure they have a... Look at that. It's because of the new terrain piece right there. Is that not infuriating? Look at this. Look at that. Leave it to Unity to do this to me. What on earth? That's so sick. Unity, what are you doing? All right, for the purposes of today's tutorial, we are going to focus on this section right here, okay? We're not going to paint all over here. We're not going to worry about that weird glitch, because you will come across glitches. We're going to worry about just painting this terrain here. Okay? Decrease the target strength so it sort of fades out. That. And we're just adding grass here. We're just trying to make it look not so straight. So just all these different brushes. It'll look good, I promise, guys. Hang tight. Give me just a sec. I need to answer a Discord message. Isn't that wild that it's in order to paint terrain or grass on another terrain piece, it will forcibly create a new brush. All right. So far we're good though. I'm just gonna increase the draw distance here. You know what I wish you could do with the grass? Is I wish you could Okay, good. There's a scaling. That's good. We're gonna do a detail distance of 500. And I wonder if you can I wish that the scaling, the closer you got, the more dense it got. But that's just not the case. And by the way, if there's anything that's like low-hanging fruit, it's definitely grass. Like actually like billboard grass. I think it's one of the most low-hanging fruits. It just makes things look so good. And you can imagine the value of even having the grass auto paint based on you know, based on the terrain texture, you know. Okay, but we're just going to focus on this area here, guys. We've got a lot to do, and I just want to paint. You can imagine just spending all day, you know, painting beautiful grass everywhere. But we're going to focus on this section right here, I think. We're going to start putting assets in and just getting it to look really good here. All right, let's hit play here. I'm going to move my character controller right here. Zero his rotation. There he is. We'll put him right here. Let's take a look. And what we could do is create another brush, which is a different grass texture. You know? Okay. So we're going to take this. I'm actually okay with it for now. I'm not going to focus on it too much. Increase the target strength here for some of these areas. There we go. Okay, good. That feels a little bit just depressing looking at this. And that's one thing that Breath of the Wild is not. It is not depressing. So we're just going to... Okay, so the grass is working over here. I don't understand what was going on earlier. There it goes again. So weird. But whatever. There we go. I'd rather the grass go up the mountain edges like that. Okay. Okay. Let's hit play again. I want to feel it out really quick. Looks pretty good. Kind of want the grass to be a little bit more vibrant, but I'm worried about playing with it too much. Let's see here. Okay. Looks pretty good. That's bugging me right there. That really bugs me. But that's pretty. Okay. Okay. I'm going to increase the density of the fog. Maybe 1200. How about 1300? That bothers me right here. It really does. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some dirt on places that really feel like they should be more grassy. It's just so depressing looking up there. Okay. It's a shame that the one spot that I'm close to looks the worst. Okay, let's go up there and take a look. You know, I'm gonna, there we go. Yeah, there, yeah. I'm learning. We're going to get this. We're going to get this. That looks awful right there. There's part of me that wants to just go back to it later and prioritize this shot right here. Yes, I'm using URP. Grass looks good here. Okay. Now, oh man, that right there is I just can't, it's bothering me so much. But let's go ahead and start bringing in our assets, and I might clean this up later. I'm definitely going to clean that up later. Okay, let's go to our assets. Remember we had prefabs here? Let's see if we can go ahead and do some stone work. I just want to play with the stones for a little bit. We have our rocks here. And these rocks can sort of jut out of our terrain like this, right? Especially where it's more matchy-matchy. So let's just go ahead and start placing our rocks. And you can go pretty big with these. I'm going to lock the terrain so that when I place these rocks, I'm not selecting my terrain. Yeah. And if these are static, they'll cull out of frame. When the camera is pointed away, right? We're gonna go in and add normal maps. We're gonna go in and make sure these stones are more detailed. Probably, you know, they're not detailed enough right now. That's kind of what we're aiming for, you know. We want these stones to kind of fill in those weird spots. Just eyeballing it, guys. Yep, we're going to make that more detailed for sure. But yeah, this is actually going to look pretty good here. You can imagine why so many game devs say, do not make an open world game. It is a lot of work. You know, it really is. There we go. There we go. And then this one we can rotate. These are all free assets. All right. Okay, we want to make the texturing on that much more detailed because right now it's way too big. Yeah, so let's see if we can do that. So this right here, I wonder if you could do it in the shader itself. Okay, so let's go to our base map here. Okay, I'm going to worry about that detailing later. Okay. Go a little bit smaller here for the ones that are closer. Yep, this is why you have a massive team. You know what I mean? massive team of people to deal with set dressing an entire open world game. You know? Oh man. It's going to be a really calm, relaxing process here of set dressing this. It is a lot of work. I'm really glad I've been doing these live streams because I learn as I go, and you just realize how much work certain genres are. And you go, you know what? How about I don't make that genre? Let's not make an open world game. Although, to be honest, making an interior game, like a linear interior game that I've been working on one right now called Twisted Tower, which many of you have already heard about. But that takes a long time too, you know. There's pros and cons. Pros and cons. All right, you can do small ones. Sort of poking up from the ground, you know. Sort of eyeball it, feel it out. There we go. Okay, not bad actually. Oh yeah, I like the little shapes we're getting here. Now we can do big boulders in the distance. And again, guys, we're not gonna set dress this entire thing. That would be insane. But we can place big boulders in the distance, so it feels higher fidelity. Gives us an idea of if we're on the right track, even, you know. That makes sense? Hopefully. We just don't have enough time to do all of this, you know. That needs to go right here, maybe. And you'll notice that the shading looks odd for these guys. And I think it's because they're just using our own custom shader. But let's save it and take a look. So far, so good. Not bad, honestly. I need to zoom out a little bit, but getting there. Now, some of these you're going to think, well, they look so weird. Well, what you want to do is you can do a big one here, like this, and put them in little families, and suddenly it starts to make more sense visually. See? Yep, we're just making the stones fill in various portions of the terrain that are bothersome, you know, that are frustrating and look low fidelity. And this is all one rock, you know? You're just rotating it and creating all these different pieces. See that? I'm actually having a lot of fun. Look, anytime it feels a little bland, you just start putting some families of rocks over there. Not bad, honestly. And we're just doing the rocks right now, guys. Just doing rocks. Now, there's part of me that feels like we should probably go darker. I'm not sure at the moment, but maybe we need to. And it could be the normal mapping that's troubling me, but we'll see. do trees. You know, we're going to do all sorts of cool stuff here. Oh, yeah, that's looking good, man. Look, you could put one here and then one here, a little bit bigger. And it kind of justifies the dirt and makes the dirt feel less deserty. It's like, oh, it's not dying, it's just stone, you know? Good deal. This needs to rotate. Yeah, there we go. This needs to rotate. Okay, let's take a look. In play mode, let's feel it out. All right. Put some stones over there. Some of those need to rotate. These right here. And then we'll put some right over there. And it really does help to stay in the position where the player will be standing and just slowly start laying it out. I'm sure there's a lot of tricks, but this one is helpful for sure. Here we go. Yeah. Yeah, that one was feeling weird to me for some reason. I don't know why. There we go. And this sort of piece, this part over here feels really deserty, right? So you could justify the dirt by just moving stones around. Kind of want to put some water down there. But let's paint some grass right there, actually. So we'll just do dirt. And then we'll do some grass. There we go. Oh, that feels so much better. Now it's not so much of a desert. Yeah, there we go. Good. Yep. All right, and then just a little bit of dirt, sort of punching in on the edges there, right? And that's what we needed. Maybe some stone coming out over there. Some massive stone going on over here. The yeah, these stones here are the contrast is insane. So let's double check and see what's going on there. Okay, it's the normal map that's so intense. Got it. Okay, much better. Much better. Let's save it and let's take a look at this view here. So far, so good. Okay. Let's throw in some trees. Again, we're going to add tree. And And we're going to find the trees we like. We have tree 1. Good, it paints. This one is missing for some reason. I'm going to remove that one. I'm going to add another one. This is going to be our tree 2. And then we're also going to add the pine tree as well. Okay. We're going to do a brush size of 1, tree density of 100. And let's just start painting our trees and see how it looks. Okay, so that's a billboard, which is what we want. Okay, it shifts to a billboard. We're probably going to need to change when that occurs because that's ridiculous. We're going to do a pretty strong tree height variation. We want to make sure, though, look at that. Isn't that crazy? We need to work on the culling that's, or the LOD that's occurring. We need to figure out why that's happening. And they're not blowing the wind. Why is that? Why are you not blowing in the wind, bro? Oh, they are. Very subtly. Those shadows help a lot, actually. Okay, we need to figure out what's going on there with the LOD. Oh my, it looks like there isn't an LOD. So it almost appears that the terrain tool is doing it for us automatically. Let's try another one. I'm actually confused. Let's double check. Looks like the LOD is occurring naturally, which is very interesting. I've never seen the terrain tool do that before. Okay, yeah. So let's double check the tree 2 variant. So we have an LOD here. It looks like the terrain tool is, I could be wrong here, it's creating a LOD automatically for the pine tree, which is really interesting. I didn't know Unity did that. Now this LOD group, we want to do this. There we go. We want to be able to render these trees a little bit closer because, man, I am curious though what's going on here. The selected tree does not have an LOD group, so it will use the default imposter syndrome and will not support rotation. I would love to be able to edit that. But hey, let's go ahead and add an LOD to the pine tree. And we're just going to cull it out. Here's what we're going to do. Zero this one out here. And then we're going to have simply put, remove this mesh renderer, add an LOD group, and then we're going to have just 2, culled and not. That's about it. And obviously, guys, we could do a whole, we could do a whole video about optimization and creating LODs. But for now, for this video, man, we're just going to do it as is. Okay. So let's just go ahead and place some pine trees. I wonder if they're tall enough. Let's double check. We'll adjust the colors because the color's not looking right. It is creating an LOD automatically. It's creating a billboard. In this case, it's not creating a billboard because we gave it an LOD group. All right, we're going to use post-processing, guys. We're going to create some particles for fog. We're going to do all sorts of cool stuff here. But overall, that's looking pretty good to me. And also, I haven't even mentioned, we're going to talk about shading, toon shaders. Let's go ahead and paint some trees in here. There we go. We just need 1. Trees grow in groups. Very good. Probably a little bit too many pine trees. But we'll see. We're going to play with it here. Ooh, one up here as well would be nice. So we're kind of down here, right? And we're going to be looking around us. Okay. Yeah, we don't have any, I don't think we have any post-processing turned on right now. And that's going to help a lot. We haven't done any lighting work, nothing. All right, good. So far, so good. All right. Let's go to our other trees. These are tiny. And we want to lock the... I don't want to randomize the tree height. Let's see here what's going on with this. For some reason, it's squashing it, and I can't quite figure it out. What is happening? Tree width is random. I thought that was a rotation. Okay, random rotation. Good, good, good. I don't know why you're squashing. What is that? Why is it squashing? Let's double check something here. We got to figure out why it's squashing. But that does look good. It's just so small. Why are they so small? Let's double check something here. 1, 1, 1. Ah, yes. So we're going to do... Let's get the height right here. Is that big enough? Let's double check. For some reason the Z didn't scale. It's my fault. Also, the trees look a little small as well. So I'm going to make them a little bit bigger here. Yeah. Okay. So let's go ahead and set those to 2.5 by 2.5, or not. Let's do 3 by 3 by 3. Hit apply. The same is true with this. 3 by 3 by 3. Okay. Now we can go ahead and go back to painting, and we can do random sizes. Yeah, the Z axis wasn't correctly assigned. We're going to increase the... Where is my pipeline here? My URP stuff. Let's go to our settings. I want to make my shadow draw distance a little bit longer. Project settings, go to our quality. There it is. All right, so there's our PC URP asset. We're going to set the draw distance for our shadows to 150. Much better. And we're going to start painting some of these trees in. We're going to do random rotation. Color variation, that's fine, I guess. Tree width, we're going to lock the width to height, and we're going to do a random tree height. Like this. There we go. They're just really tall. There we go. And these do have LODs properly set up, I believe. So we should be good with these guys. And again, we have different trees as well. They look good up close. They're not great far away. But neither are Breath of the Wilds, if I'm being completely honest. Feeling it out, guys. Feeling it out here. Okay, let's see how this feels. That's bad. This is all right. Yeah, it looks much better in first person, and I think that's because we don't have a third person controller yet. Grass is a little bit tall. Let's see if we can increase the density of the grass. Okay, let's go here. We're going to go to here, and then we're going to go to our grass density scale, crank it up. There we go. That's better. But then we're going to go to our grass. Let's go back into the game view here. Yeah, that's better. That's better. Okay. All right. I'm going to throw on some post-processing to make sure we're on the right track here. Something's feeling off, and I can't put a finger on it. And there's part of me that feels like we can solve some of these problems as an indie developer with post-processing. So that's my thought process, and we will see if that solves our problem. It could also be a Skybox problem. I feel like the Skybox is a little bit bland, honestly. We might be able to solve it with the Skybox. And then also increasing the saturation and some bloom. Let's see here. What else can we do here? I'm gonna play around with this a little bit. I wonder what'll happen if we do exponential fog. Does that look better? I think it does. Yeah, exponential fog looks better. Good. Okay. We're going to do exponential fog. We're going to go back. Yeah, we're going to do exponential fog. Good. Okay. Exponential. Good. And then we're also going to go to our post-processing volume. And we're going to play with the post-processing. We're going to do some bloom. Just a little bit. We're going to turn off high quality filtering. And then we're going to go to, not vignette, we're going to do some color correction here. We're going to go to our shadows and crank up the, go a little bit down to the blue. And the highlights, we're going to warm up a little bit. There we go, a little bit pink. Then we're going to go to color correction. Crank up the contrast. There we go. Probably want to bring down the bloom a little bit. There we go. Saturation, I wonder if we can crank it up just a little bit to about 2. So let's try that and see what we get. Yes. Good. It's looking better. All right. So the grass is a little bit tall. And I wonder what's going to happen when we start adding the toon shader to everything. Okay, let's go to our grass and kind of fix it a little bit. It's a little tall. It's really frustrating though because the grass here, we have 2. And I don't know which is which because it keeps adding it. Detail density up. We're going to do a max height of 1 or maybe even 0.8. Min height of 0.8, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Let's try that. Yeah, we're gonna add tune shading. That's better. That looks so much better. Okay, we need to add flowers, right? There's a lot of cool little um, cool little effects we can add with flowers and stuff. So far, so good. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and add some of those flowers. Yeah, I kind of feel like the grass here. This is why I love saving things in Photoshop. I feel like we need to just colorize a good chunk of it to be a little bit more green because I'm seeing a lot of brown coming through. I don't know why. There it is right there. Which one is that? Let's double check. It's this one here. Yeah. All right, let's try that again. Yeah, that's looking much better. I'm curious about the depth of field, if that exists. I think it does in Breath of the Wild, and there's also a lens flare as well. We're gonna also, yeah, this skybox kind of sucks if I'm being honest. So we're gonna go back in time here. We're gonna adjust this skybox to be a little bit more interesting. I tried to match it to the Breath of the Wild one, but just not for me, man. Let's go to our skyboxes and our asset dump. And there we go. We have all these different skyboxes. This one is probably the coolest one right here. So if I take that and I put it here, and then I put it underneath all of this, yeah, it matches. So let's try that. I told you. Okay. We just need a little bit more stylized skybox. We're making an indie game here. And also, I'm seeing a color shift occurring when I enter play mode. Why is that? Because the camera doesn't have post-processing on it. That's why. There we go. Oh man, it's going to look so much better. Thank God. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I'm not going to worry about moving the character controller. Okay, we need to make that less orange. But yeah, it looks so much better. There we go. And it looks like an indie game, you know? It's like indie Breath of the Wild. That's exactly what we want. Brilliantly done. I'm going to remove the capsule collider lighting. And that's because I'm just it's hurting the vibe. So what I'm going to do is make it unlit. I know this sounds so weird that I want to do this. I want it unlit and I want it to be like an orange or something because it's driving me crazy. There we go. It's hurting the whole vibe having that in the scene. Oh man, y'all, it looks great. I kind of like the orange there. It looks so good. And when we add some toon shading here, it's going to really help. It's going to really help. I don't know if we necessarily even need toon shading, but let's brighten up the grass a little bit. This right here, we're going to brighten it up. And this is what I mentioned earlier, where you start with that unified color, and then you play. Once you've got it unified, then you can start playing. Yay, now it's matchy-matchy. All right, one more time, I'm going to hit play. And we're going to feel it out. Give it a little hat. Yeah, this is awesome, y'all. Much better. Much better. One of the things that's bothering me, it's been bothering me this whole time, and Jordy, if you're watching this, Jordy's my editor. He's going to make a video out of all this. You could just, a lot of this, you can just scrub through and show time lapses. Okay, here we go. Let's go to our smooth height tool. And I'm going to go to brush size, high opacity, high brush size. Turn off this, and I'm just going to do a big, like a unifying smoothing. Okay, I'm going to save it first. Here we go. We're just going to click, 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 click. And hopefully we get like a unified look. So it's not like some areas are super detailed and some aren't. Yeah. So that might have been too much, but it helped a lot. Now it looks more indie, which is what we want. I'm going to cheat here, guys. I'm going to cheat here. And I'm going to create a horizon in the Skybox. And like I said at the beginning of this video, or at the beginning of this live stream, what we want to do is try and be as indie friendly as possible here. And I'm just going to have my Skybox serve and create a little bit more depth because right now there's just not enough. Okay. For those of you who are curious, you're probably thinking, well, why not just add more terrain? And it's like, well, we're making an indie game here. There's only so much we can do. So I'm going to take that and I'm going to fill in these trees so we don't see them. And we're trying to do this in a sort of economical way. And we just want to see some of those mountains in the distance. And this, I've gotten to the point now during this process where you've got to start following your gut. Yeah, there we go. And we're also going to throw on some, what do you call it? Thomas, are you losing your mind? Lens blur, Gaussian blur, blur for the, what am I saying? Bokeh. All right, let's do this. Save that. Let's take a look. Yes. Yes. The magic. The magic of indie game dev. That is what we want. We're going to create a new layer and go behind it. And don't worry, I know it's not blending well with the sky. I'll show you how we're going to make that happen. What we're going to do is just we're going to move all of it up like this. Yay. That's cool looking. So just bring all of it down just a little bit. And then this guy here, reduce the opacity. There we go. And then just shrink those down a little bit. So all of these guys, squash them. Reduce the opacity. And I think that's cool. We have like some cool mountains in the distance. I'm going to do one more layer though. And it's going to be right here. Scale it up. Go a little bit darker. There we go. I think that's it. That's the one we needed right here. Almost. We're so close. I think you guys will be impressed with this. Yeah. And we'll add some tall peaks as well. But that's what we wanted, man. Sweet. Okay. Yeah, we need to add some tall ones like this. Something to make it feel more natural. We'll just grab this color here and darken it a little bit, maybe go a little bit more green. And we'll blur all this in a sec. I just want to make sure it's working for us. Yeah. Okay. Shrink it. Save it. Okay, we're getting there. We're getting there. A little bit more navy blue on the tips. Navy, dark blue. Save it. Almost. And then we're going to fade it out here by doing something like this. Whoops, too much. We're almost there, guys. Go a little bit darker. Okay. All right. It really does need to be blue. The same blue as the fog. Something like this. By the way, those just joining us, remember there's a course below if you want to learn everything I've learned in the last decade of making indie games, and you want to learn how to pitch to publishers, or you want to learn how to hit the Steam front page, you want to learn how to get press coverage, you want to learn how to stay motivated, you want to learn how to make a game in Unity, Godot, or Unreal, you can take your pick. You also want to get my free 2D art programs and 3D art programs. Those are completely free, but only for this sale. There's a massive sale below for the new year, 50% off. I'll also give you a shout out in this live stream I do on Monday, so be sure to check it out below, see if it's something you're interested in. So far, so good, y'all. That looks good, man. We're getting there. All right. So what I did there, what just happened there was I shifted gears because for some reason my brain could not figure out what was wrong. Something was wrong. And so I needed to put some post-processing on there to get it working. But now I've got it working. Where's my character controller at? He's over here. Yeah. Now I've got it working. Now it looks good. Or is he right here? Yeah, this is where the character controller is. Now it's working. Got everything working. Let's start adding in some more assets. Remember we had the stones, right? Let's go ahead and throw in some of these. And it's interesting what happens when you, I'm going to apply that here. It's interesting what happens when you start adding in some just a few higher fidelity, a fewer higher fidelity assets. The brain will click and you'll go, oh, okay, so this whole game is like high res. What I mean by that is if I see this like that, my brain starts to go, okay, well, that's high res and that's high res and this is high res. And that's just because some of the assets that I can get up close to have a higher fidelity. That's really, it's kind of a trick. You got to be careful though, because you don't want too many assets to be low fidelity. Or you don't want a random like high fidelity and then low fidelity all the time. But you can get away with some assets having a little bit higher fidelity. I think that's fine. So like these right here, if I enter play mode here, you'll kind of see what I mean, I hope. And I'm going to fix that texture work over there because it's really bothering me. But overall, this is the ruins. That's pretty cool. Okay, let's go ahead and throw some more on there. We have those ruins. We have these ruins here. I'm going to scale them up, you know. Go pretty big here. Maybe put them over here. Just trying to create some cool shots. Maybe we'll put that over here. Can you imagine making a game like Breath of the Wild as an indie? That's wild. It's Breath of the Wild. It would be crazy to try and do that. Like the full thing. That would be nuts. Let's put another one down here. We'll flip it over. Roll it on its side so it looks like a different piece. Maybe go really big with it. Right. Again, I'm going to hit play mode just to feel it. Any merit to adding water? Yeah, sure. And one thing that Zelda does really well is scale. Okay, so I could take, like, for example, this. I could put one up here, and I can go really big with it. And when I look at it from here, now obviously this is indie, so if we get up really close to it, we're going to see how poor it is, how poor the quality is. But we can create some cool moments of scale where I look at it like this. You know? I'm going to play a little bit here, guys. Just play around and see what would happen if I did something like that. I could do another one. This one, watch this. I could do this. I could have one big chunky piece like this. And then that one's sort of a part of its family, just sort of hanging out next to it. Yeah, bigger. I think the bigger we go here, the more Zelda it feels. I could be wrong, but we're going to try it. We're just playing around here. Yeah, these big chunky pieces coming out of the ground could be really, really nice. And again, we're trying to figure out how do we get away with just using free assets, you know. Yeah, that looks particularly Zelda right there to me. Let's hit play and take a look. Oh, it would take a solo dev 2 decades, I think, to finish a game like Breath of the Wild. Easily. So that's why we're creating something that has like a lower fidelity. And trying to figure out, okay, how can we make this look like a Zelda game while still having, you know, more simplistic art. And honestly, I think what we're creating here is more than fine. I don't even think we're getting away with anything. I think it looks great. Just playing around here. Okay, we're going to do another, maybe a rock right here. Sort of frame this little section in. Like that. Okay. And we'll paint some bushes. So let's go ahead and add some more details or add some more trees. Let's go to our bushes. We have a bush variant here. Hit add. And good, it's got an LOD on it, which is nice. And we could just start painting these bushes around the various areas. I don't know why one didn't paste there. There we go. And I wonder if they need to be bigger. Let's hit play and feel it out. I've been enjoying your workshops. I just graduated from my university and I got a degree in game design. Very cool. Yeah, look at the bushes, guys, how much that helps. It's one of those things where when you have something that's super big, like even these rocks here, let's add the increase the density here. Why aren't they painting? What's going on? I can't paint the bushes for some reason. Oh, I haven't selected it. That's why. Yeah, when you have rocks like right here, adding these bushes, it just makes them work, you know? I think it's painting too many. Yeah, it is. But yeah, it's this, it's hard to explain, but when you have a low fidelity object, especially in an indie game, painting smaller objects near it helps it. I don't know why. This is just something I've observed in Twisted Tower when I've been working on Twisted Tower. It just brings a lot of intention to it. See? I don't know why. I don't know. Maybe there's a phenomenon Maybe it has a name. Put bush here as well. Bush here as well. Just trying to get a good shot here, you know? Man, can you imagine how many artists, level artists and designers would you need to build that open world? Like, it's just mind-boggling. Okay, let's add another tree here. We have flowers. Gonna add some flowers here. Beautiful pink flowers. Really helps, doesn't it? Let's add in some white flowers as well. These I'm going to go a little bit higher. And remember, plants grow in groups. I think scientifically, it's got to be something to do with like the soil, maybe. Like the soil just has a better quality to it under certain groups. I don't know. No idea. You can see how it's not working for me. I need to. It doesn't have an LOD, so it doesn't support rotation. So what we need to do is we need to go into our flowers, copy this, paste it as a child, remove the mesh renderer, add an LOD group, delete the LODs here, and cull it out very far away. Then add in this renderer here, and we're good to go with the purple one. Now the purple one can do random rotation. Come on. I can't erase them. Hang on one sec. For some reason, I can't erase my flowers. But now we can do, there we go. Man, something happened there. Let's go ahead and erase these because they didn't have an LOD. What in the world? Okay, there we go. Yeah, let's go to our white flowers here and make the LOD significantly. Wait. The white flowers don't have an LOD either. Zero those out. There we go. Set it 111. There we go. Go back to our remove the renderer and then add the LOD group. Add in the child renderer and set it to this. There we go. So we're going to set it to like 5%. Good. We're going to go to the purple ones as well. We didn't zero out their position. That's why. And we need to set the scale to 11111. And then now, good. There we go. Okay. Save it out. Good. Okay. So those are going to cull out the further they get away. We probably are going to want to create an LOD for them if we were to make this into a full game. But we're not going to do that here. For today's video, we're not going to do that. All right, let's take a look. Looking good. Honestly, it looks great, man. Kind of want to increase the saturation of the trees. The grass is yellow and I can't figure it out. It's frustrating. Okay. Good. The weeds. Remember we have some weeds here? We want to make sure that that has an LOD as well. So what I'm going to do is, again, remove the mesh render from the parent, add an LOD group, delete all of the LODs except for the culling one, drag in the weed variant. I'm going to set it to 1%. Make sure you set it to 000. There we go. Set it to 111. Save it. And then we can paint some weeds as well. There we go. Isn't that beautiful? Brilliant. Okay, so far so good. Save it, hit play. Good deal. All right. Looks good to me. Are there any other assets we're missing that we need to add? Oh, these big tufts of grass. Duh. Let's do that. We have a grass tuft that we can add just to make it feel a little bit more diverse. But we want to go into our grass here and again do the same thing, okay? We want to create a child. We want to remove the parent mesh renderer, add an LOD group, remove all of the LODs except for the callout, and we want the callout to occur at like 1%, and then just throw in that renderer. That way, when we paint it, it'll call out. Make some of these tall. Put some here. You know, you can put them all over, especially near corners and stuff like this. We're just trying to create some variation in the grass, you know. All right, let's take a look. Yeah, a small lake and a castle would be awesome. I guess we should find a free castle and just put it in the distance, you know? That would be really cool. No, this looks great, man. Let's add that post-processing. What would you call it? The depth of field. Turn it on. We're gonna do Gaussian and see if that does it for us. We might need to do bokeh. Man, why doesn't it ever work? Isn't that weird? I've always had inconsistent results with depth of field. I can never put a finger on it. Always inconsistent results. Isn't that strange? Okay, there we go. It works. You just have to have it on the camera will do it. Okay, so let's clean this up a little bit. There we go. All right, we got our lens blur or our depth of field. Good deal. Can we turn off the Skybox lighting? Maybe just a little bit of lighting for the Skybox. There we go. Good deal. And then let's see if we can mess with the lighting a little bit for the directional light. I kind of like it. I think it's fine, but I do want to add a lens flare to it. Let's add a lens flare to our lighting. The way we do that is we just go to lens flare. There we go. We need to do lens flare SRP. And the question is where, there it is. Okay, good. It's right there, baby. So the lens flare is already occurring. We can increase the intensity of it if we want. There we go. All right. And let's hit play here and see if it feels good to look up at the sun. There it is. And I'm going to put it more near the castle. Right there is cool. That's awesome. Let's take a look. So we have more of an evening glow here. Crank up the intensity. There it is. Yeah, that looks great. Screen space occlusion, of course. There we go. And we're going to put a sun in the skybox, y'all. Okay. Copy that component. Paste those values here. Yeah, obviously, you know, there's a whole other process, right? I think it's right. There's this piece here. Where's that? Is it right there? Sorry, I'm finding where that piece is. I think it's right there. No. This is like, where is it? We're going to find it. But there we go. There it is. The sun is where? Where's the sun? I just saw it. It's right there. Okay. We need to rotate the sun. So it's going down. Here we go. And move it over here. There we go. Right there. So that is right there. We're just going to move it to the right. Up. Down. Squash it. This is why you use PSDs, my friends. There's our sun. Brilliantly done, Thomas. Thank you very much. Set it to 1. Scale is a little too big. There we go. Man, that's great. Let's go back to our post-processing and do a little bit of tweaks. Crank up the saturation just a tad. Good. Shadows and midtones. There we go. Next up is the fog. The rolling fog that is so prevalent in why does that turn orange? The grass turning orange is driving me crazy. And also the sun is a little bit too dim. So we're going to go to the directional light here and make it not so low in the sky. There we go. So we're going to put it right up there. There it is. Much better. That's great, man. I like to be able to see it in first person. The grass is driving me absolutely bonkers. The orange tint is very frustrating. And it has to do, and I'm almost positive, there we go. Look, it looks great now. And then slowly over time, it turns orange. And that's because there's a grass tint value here. There it is. That is what was happening. Thank God. Okay, so let's see what happens. And also we're going to change the scale of the wind. We're going to take a look here. Very good. Very good. I feel like we could do a little bit more bloom, if I'm being honest. So we're going to play with that a little bit. Let's see if we can play with the bloom a little bit. Bring down the threshold. We're going to do a tinted bloom. There we go. Scatter. Intensity. Okay, that feels pretty good. I know that's a little intense, and it looks more a little bit like Wind Waker than it would be Breath of the Wild, but I like it. I kind of prefer it. It's very beautiful. I kind of want the camera. The camera's driving me crazy and I can't quite figure it out. Follow point framing up, maybe. Whoops. I'm gonna make it zoomed out a little bit. Whoops. Let's see here. That looks much better though. I like that. Yeah, I'm gonna have it zoomed out a little bit. This is kind of annoying me. Default distance. No. I gotta play with this. Sorry, give me just a sec, guys. That does look really good, doesn't it, guys? But I think we just need to zoom out a little bit. Max distance is 10. I understand. Okay. If we set the max distance to 20, and then you can set this value to 10, I think that'll do. There we go. So I can zoom out. Very good. Okay, you guys ready to add some fog and some music and some sound? Okay. The fog is as simple as adding a particle system like this, giving it a shape of a sphere, having it not move at all. Well, I guess we could have it move in one direction, but I'm going to set the start speed to 0. And we're going to increase the size of the shape here. The radius is like this. The max size, we're going to do 10 to 20. Set the alpha to be really low. And then we're going to do color over lifetime. Alpha to 0, alpha to 0. And all it's going to do is fade in and out. See? We can do maybe even a max of 40 and a max of 20. We want to make sure it doesn't shrink when the camera gets close, so we need to go down to the renderer and set the max particle size to be pretty big. 50. Minimum particle size 20 or 10 or 5 or 8 or 1. Let's set this value to 20 here. Okay, maybe 5. Okay, those are pretty big, so we're going to do 30 and then 15 maybe. Random between two constants or random between two colors. And what you do is, all you do is you, I'm going to have them move a little bit. So we're going to go force over lifetime. You just attach it to the camera and it'll always follow the player around. So we're going to do -10. There we go. -5. -1. -2. We're going to do -1. There we go. We need to set the, I need to duplicate this, by the way, this particle. It's right there. Okay, we need to create a new particle material. There should be like a default particle diffuse we can use. There we go. Particles lit. We're going to do the default particle. There it is. And now what I can do is I can set it to we're going to call this fog. Give me a sec here, guys. I need to think. There it is. The particles on there. But why can't I see it? There we go. Set it to transparent. I actually kind of feel like we want to use Sprite. Let's try Sprite. No, what is it? What is it? It's particles lit. There it is, soft particles. Now this will fade smoothly into the ground if I set it to like 5 or 10. For some reason, we're getting weird sizing of the particles, and I don't know why. Is that not strange? Let's do 5 by 5 and see what we get. 10 by 10. I can't see them. Turn the renderer on and then set this to 1. I don't know why. What happened there? Okay, something's going on. They're super big. All right, hang tight. Something's going on. I need to reset the renderer. Why did that happen? Okay, there they are. Something happened. I don't know what it was, if I'm being honest. Let's set this to additive. We're going to keep it the way it was. It's fine the way it was. Just because I got to get going. There they are. Okay, we're going to put this inside of the player. Put it inside of his camera and zero out its position. And we should be able to see it in play mode. The problem is simulation space is set to local, so it'll move with the camera, which we don't want. See, it's moving with the camera. Really disorienting. Instead, we want to set it to world, and we're going to set it to 20 and then 5, make them smaller. Yes, this will be available to watch later. Yeah, we definitely need a new material for that because it's super gray looking. Looks like smoke. So we definitely want to fix that. So let's do that. We're going to fix it, okay? I'm going to create a new document here. Let's go to our sand here. And what I'm going to do is create a fog PSD, okay? This is sort of the last thing we're going to do. Create a fog PSD. And all it's going to be is these sort of punches. Just little. There we go. That's all we really need. I'm going to blur it. And these are going to rotate. These particles are going to rotate. Textures, particles. It's going to be called fog. There it is. And I'm just going to drag this onto my particle system. It's going to create the material for me. There it is. Hit play. There they are. There's our material. We're going to set it to transparent. There we go. We're going to do soft particles. Set it to 10 for far. So they're nice and smooth now. And they're really big, right? So I wonder if we can do 5 by 1. See what happens there. Now there's something going on here with the max particle size. If I set it to 2 and then 0, there we go. Set it to 3, maybe 5. Okay, there we go. Okay, so we're going to scale them up to 25. Max particle size is 25. But the minimum size, we're going to do like 15. There we go. we're going to do a rotation occurring. So random rotation, rotation over a lifetime, angular velocity. We're going to do random between constants. So 0 to 360. It's a little much, maybe 20. I'm sorry, 150 or 180 maybe. And because this is inside of the player, we should see it sort of all around us. So let's take a look. Increase the opacity and see if that helps. There we go. Brilliant. Okay, I'm going to remove the capsule collider entirely so that we can only, so we move around and it is third person, but we just can't see the capsule collider because I want to be able to explore this world without that ugly capsule collider in here. All right, good enough for me. I think we could probably decrease the particle system opacity. And then what we can do here is go ahead and throw on some ambience. So all I'm going to do is go to artlist.io. Let's find in some summer field ambience. I like that. And then we're going to find some beautiful piano music. Soft piano. Maybe even type ambient. We'll see. Ambient. There we go. It's something like that, right? You're never... there's something about the music in Zelda that is... In Breath of the Wild that is so perfect, and I cannot put a finger on it. It's the key it's written in or something. I don't think you can find any music like that. We're going to create a new folder here, call it sounds. I'm going to paste all these sounds in. We're going to drag these into the scene. There we go. Drag that one in as well. Whoops. Don't do it that way. Let's create a new audio. There we go. This is going to be our music. And this is crazy how much this is going to change. What is the audio generator? Sorry, that's a new component. I'm not used to this. Let's hit play and take a look. So this is the music. Good. And then we're going to throw in our ambience as well. There it is. I'm going to keep the ambience at 1, the music going to be 0.5. Let's take a look. Good deal. Looks good to me, man. So we'd start the player like here. This is for Jordy. Oh, it needs wind? Okay. Wind ambience. In a field. You're totally right. There we go. It'd be a mixture, right? Now, I'd bake all this together, of course. But for the purposes of this, we're going to have two ambiences. We're going to have that field, and then we're going to have wind. Drag that in. Yeah, it's this right here. I'm going to set this one to 0.5, and then the ambience of the other one to 0.5 as well, so that they blend a little bit better. They're not too loud. Let's try it. The fog is driving me nuts. So what we're going to do is just not have it so intense. And I'm not going to have it really move that quickly either. That's a little too fast for me. And we're going to go in all directions here. And we're going to have it come out of the a bigger radius of maybe 40 and hit play. I'm trying to get John Romero on the podcast. I swear, I have emailed them so many times. Good deal. Yeah. Hey, for well, how many hours was that? It was 3 hours today, and it was like an hour and a half yesterday, maybe 2 hours. That's not bad. You know, you got some pretty good shots here. Let's see here. Let's grab the thumbnail. Like something like that, maybe. That's not bad, you know? Breath of the Wild, baby. I think it's pretty freaking good for free assets, all done in a short period of time. Huge thank you to all these new students who joined the program. And by the way, guys, if you want to join the program, you found my teaching style interesting and you liked it, and you want to take a course through 2026, this is the one for you. This is a great course. I have like over 4,000 students, over 4,500 students, I think. And believe it or not, many of my students went full-time with the help of the program, which is really, really cool. Check that out. Bart and Chris and Andre and Everflux Games and Felipe and Chris. That's the second one from Chris. Soltar, Antonio. That's pretty awesome that they went full-time. So if you're interested in learning the business side of game dev, the marketing side of game dev, how to pitch to publishers, how to hit the Steam front page, how to do a crowdfunding campaign, and you want to learn from someone who's actually done it, yes, I've actually done it. These are games that I got funded by publishers. They were funded on Kickstarter. Same game here, Neversong, but this is the PS4 version, the deluxe edition. And I'm currently published by 3D Realms for my third commercial release, Twisted Tower. If that's something you're interested in, learning from an actual indie game dev, someone who's actually done it and they're doing, well, what you want to do, I'm going to teach you what you need to know. You're also going to get my 2D art program and my 3D art program completely free, but only for this sale event. So click the link below, check it out, see if it's something you're interested in, and I'll see ya in the course. All right, guys, I love you. That was really, really fun. I think this is a good shot. What do you guys think? Something like this? Oh, that's a good one right there. I kind of want to move this over here. I'm trying to get the thumbnail here. That if that was a little bit bigger here, maybe. And I kind of wish that lens flare. I'll do it for the thumbnail. Sorry, this is for. I'm sitting here thinking about the video that we create. That's a good one. We do need a castle, don't we? Dang it. Do we have any free castles on the Unity Asset Store? We need a castle, right? So let's do let's type in castle. I'm going to go to free here. You're not going to find good ones, I'll tell you that. Man. Castle pack. Oh, that's bad. There's not much, but this is good enough, man. This is good enough. I mean, if you wanted to, I guess you could do something like this. Sort of Shadow of the Colossus style. One word back here. Go a little bit bigger for this guy. Composition, baby. Bigger. Bigger, Thomas. Really? You want to go bigger? Yes, bigger! We're using our composition knowledge here. And also, we can't control ourselves, can we? Watch this. I want to show you something cool. This is the benefit of just limiting your game to a certain area or location, especially as an indie. That's why open world is tough. Limiting the player to a certain location means that we can get away with this kind of stuff, right? I could put this in the horizon, and I do this a lot for Twisted Tower, is I put a lot of stuff in the horizon like this. I'm never, as the player, I'm never going to get to this place. And so I can get away with this. You know what I mean? Cool. We'll move this one down. Just thinking about the composition here. I want a good shot. Brilliantly done. What did you say? Can you use these free assets commercially? Absolutely. Every asset in this stream was all commercially free on the Unity Asset Store. They didn't come out of the oven looking like this. We had to go in there and really mess with them to get them looking good. But and look, guys, you want to. I've talked about this before. You know, you want to put a Steam page up, and all of you should. You just go, you know what? Screw it. I'm gonna make. Look at how cool this is gonna look. Let me show you something. You wanted like a let's say a Steam page up, but you didn't want to deal with creating that lens flare. You just go, okay, screw it. And this is okay to do. It's okay to make your marketing material look good. Boom. And we're going to call this Gasp of the Child. I'm having too much fun. Sorry, guys. No, Gasp of the Tile. This is why it's so important to understand color theory, and it's so important to understand your limitations as a game dev. When you understand your limitations, you can go, okay, this game cannot be open world, but it can be, you know, limited to a certain area, and all the surrounding looks big, but we're really going to limit the player to a certain path. There's a ton of value in knowing how to do that. Because at the end of the day, look, guys, if you really, you're not going to be able to make this open world on budget. There's no way. But you can. Man, I'm losing steam. Sorry, guys. I don't have anything else to say. I think this looks great. I just need to do a color overlay of that yellowish color. It makes a big difference. And then I'm going to fill this in here. I think it's a little too contrasty. Let me crank that down. Here, hang on. I'm going to use this for the thumbnail for the video. That looks pretty good, man. What we need to do is have this not be so contrasty. Yeah, there you go. Bro, I'm sorry. That looks pretty good for free assets in 4 hours. I think we did a pretty dang good job, didn't we, guys? You guys were helpful. Really, really good. Wisp of the Mild. Yeah. I don't want to let this one go. I kind of want to make this. Let's sharpen it. You sharpen it until it starts to break down. Very good, Thomas. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you. Sorry, I'm just playing with the color theory now. Go to the yellows. If we go to the yellows, we can tweak them so they look more green like that, which I kind of wish I had done. But whatever, you do what you can. That looks better, actually. Gasp of the Tile. Oh my goodness gracious. And let me teach you guys about posting on social media without a care in the world. You jump on Twitter, you say, made a Breath of the Wild looking demo or scene live yesterday and today. Watch the full tutorial now. Here's what was made with free assets. That looks freaking good. I'll post a link to this, but yeah, I'm pretty proud of that. Oh man, tired. Busy week. Busy week. Wisp of the Mild. I like that one. All right, I love you guys. Be sure to check this out, okay? Just click the link, check it out. Hey, and there's a 30-day money-back guarantee. So you can purchase the course, and if you don't like it, just ask for a